She sneezes once. She sneezes twice. She'll be me bride when she sneezes thrice.
I'd say welcome back, creeps and creatures, but today we're all last season lads because we're here with Chris, Connor, and welcome back, Sean Coolihan.
Hello, creeps and creatures.
This is probably the best movie for you to review because you, as an Irishman, you know your Irish heritage.
Two Irishmen here.
Sean celebrated the entire catalog of this movie, but we're gonna delve right into number 2. It's called Leprechaun 2: Back in Action.
Yeah,
That's what it's called, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just called Leprechaun 2.
This time around, luck has nothing to do with it.
Oh, was that like the
That is the
sub-caption?
that was the tagline.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It is good.
You know, I mean, he keeps up with the tradition of the riddles and the rhymes and the tags, and I think he really upped his game on this one as far as like speaking in rhymes and riddles.
Yeah, Warwick Davis was getting paid by the rhyme for that movie. He doesn't really have
he's
to
like a
act.
rapper.
He's
He's
just
basically a rapper.
Yeah. What's odd about this movie, it was released in 1994, I think in April.
Right.
St. Patrick's Day was in March of 94. This movie was made.
This is a hangover.
It was released
hangover.
after St. Patrick's Day, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would make a difference. I don't think people are like, I'm looking for a good St. Patrick's Day movie to watch on the Hallmark Channel.
That's true.
I don't think there's any really good St. Patrick's Day. It's this movie. It's the whole franchise. And, that's all the Irish deserve anyway, is just Leprechaun movies.
You guys know better than I do. I don't know.
Well, I was in Ireland this past summer, and leprechauns are everywhere. They're just running around.
Really?
Can I ask
playing
you,
tricks on you, disappearing. They're evil.
the depiction of Ireland in the opening scene, was it anything
Nah,
like the real thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that was just in Bucks County. I mean, it could have passed for it, but to get right into it, it was a pretty heavy opening, wasn't it? It took place in Ireland in the beginning,
Yep.
and the premise of this one is he was looking for a bride. That was it?
Yeah,
the first one he just wanted his gold.
Yeah, but in this one, if she sneezes once, she sneezes twice. She'll be his bride if she sneezes thrice.
I was like, did Hollywood make up these riddles, or like I really have to study like Irish folklore a little bit more just to understand? Like, you could tell that whoever was saying this was just hammered at a bar, thinking like,
It's probably a fun movie to make.
Even just Irish proverbs in general, it's just like after St. Patrick's Day, I'm like, I don't think I could listen to one more of these. Like, who speaks like that?
Well, I do have an Irish joke for you guys.
Yeah.
What's Irish and stays outside all year long?
What's that?
Any
I
guesses?
can't tell you.
Patio furniture.
Oh,
Well,
that's painful.
patio. That's pretty good. That's like a Kareem joke.
Yes. Did you get that from his book?
Why should you never
Oh, we're doing
hold a 4-leaf clover too tightly?
Why?
You don't want to press your luck.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
that
What-
one wasn't bad, actually.
Oh, actually, I do have one for you.
Okay.
Do you know how many beans they put in Irish bean soup?
No.
239. Do you know why?
No.
Because one more would be 240.
God damn.
Are we done? Are we done with this stuff? Listen, our listeners don't want to hear our jokes.
I do have one
They've
more.
been craving to hear about Leprechaun 2.
I do have one more. What do you call a Dwayne Johnson impersonator?
Little Rock? I don't know. What?
A shamrock.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Wow.
So that's all I had for this.
All right. Well, there you go. That's Leprechaun 2, guys, and thanks for listening.
Good laughs.
Now, I'm basing just this one compared to the first one. The first one, with Jennifer Aniston was okay. Of course, these aren't supposed to be too scary. They're supposed to be comical, I guess.
Yeah, they're like B-movie-ish.
But it was entertaining. I'll just say that right off the bat. It was quick. There was no long, drawn-out scenes. They kind of just got right into it. Yeah. It was kind of like it's the sequel to a lot of these movies. They just throw them in the city. It's just a different
Yeah, what's
setting.
crazy to me is that it's like the law of diminishing returns. This movie has, 8 sequels?
Yeah.
This movie didn't make a lot of money.
No.
Neither did the first one.
You could tell the quality was a little bit better.
Yeah.
Was it?
It didn't seem as grainy, I guess. The other one was kind of like grainy.
Well, the first one was what?
I
90?
thought the first one at least had a much better plot to it, and obviously the actor.
Well, Sean, you have to understand this one was filmed 1,000 years later.
It's funny you say that because
he waited 1,000 years to consummate with his bride to be.
So, before we dive into Leprechaun 2, okay, I was doing a little bit of digging, and apparently, I guess on the forum boards here.
Wow, I would love to see.
It's a consensus that the sequels, it's all different leprechauns. It's never the same leprechaun.
So this leprechaun's different than the first?
Apparently.
It looks exactly the same.
Looks the same, sounds the same, acts the same. But
Played by Warwick Davis.
I think that's the loophole because there's really no continuity in any of the films. But just wanted to throw that out there as a bombshell in case either of you were thinking.
Maybe he was a different actor, but I thought he was a little more violent in trickery this time around.
No, it was Warwick Davis.
He was
undeniable.
He was more violent this time. Like, you know how he can make an illusion appear and it's not them? First of all, we talked about this briefly. Like, I've come to realize I think a leprechaun would be the worst villain to run into because they can just disappear, reappear, make things like they'll just play a lot of tricks with you.
They're mischievous.
Yeah. The scene, I don't know what kind of blade thing that was.
It was a lawnmower.
It was a lawnmower. Actually, I have to say, that was a decent kill.
It was. Best kill of the movie.
But I don't remember that kill at all. It's like watching this as a kid or whenever this was on. Like, I just don't remember it. But I was for a second, I was like, man, this movie's not that scary. I could probably let my kids like get by with watching this. And then that scene came on. I'm like, probably not.
And then those beautiful titties came out.
That's right. That was a creative kill, and I'll give him that. And I also like when he ripped the guy's finger off and had the gold ring.
Yeah, he was violent.
He was. He's not I guess we're supposed to assume that all leprechauns are bad. Is that the assumption in this, or is it just that?
In this timeline, they definitely are. I mean, I wouldn't want to run into him. You run into him, you're basically dead.
Yeah, the homeless guy was lucky he just got his tooth ripped out.
Yeah.
Gold tooth. But he just wants gold and to count it.
Well, he wants the gold, and he wants to marry this chick inside of a tree. And apparently, I guess he was summoned back after 1,000 years because there was a bottle of whiskey that a homeless man dropped by the tree.
Which was
Canadian I guess that whiskey. Just kind of like brought him back to life. It was Canadian whiskey. A lot more drinking in this movie. They kind of leaned heavy. They didn't do that in the first one.
Yeah.
They really leaned into the ultimate stereotype of Irish people, which is, it's not wrong. It's true. But, one of the main characters was a drunk at a bar. And he fooled him by drinking at a bar. So the leprechaun got played with this time. That didn't happen on the first one.
That was a great scene.
It was. I mean, I'll never forget what the leprechaun said. He says, drink what you want. Drink what you are able. If you are drinking with me, you'll be drinking under the table. And don't think I'm not saying that 1,000 times on St. Patrick's Day. Annoying the shit out of everybody around me.
I like in the bar, too, that, listen up, and everyone just gets quiet. Like
they were all small people,
Very
whatever we're supposed
bar.
to call them. But remember, they all came in. It was like, I don't know if you even could say midgets anymore, but that's what they were called.
Little people.
Little people?
Yeah. Or dwarves.
Yeah. Did you notice the one little person called a normal-sized person? He called him a nosebleed. I was like, that's what they call... That's their insult to just the average-sized people.
I don't think I picked up on that one.
And the one dwarf, midget, little person, I don't know. It's good. Was
I'm very offended.
Anatomically short. I don't know. It was the guy from Bad Santa.
Oh, yeah, the guy in the bathroom.
I feel like there's 5 of those actors on rotation throughout the 90s and 2000s. Like, there's only so many of those actors.
They did a tight grip on that.
You got a midget, we got him. We know the guy.
Right, but he looked exactly the same. I don't think they age as much.
No.
Bad Santa's a pretty old movie, too. So.
But if you look at Warwick Davis now...
that was in the 2000s, right? It was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. I mean, this movie was 94. Bad Santa was probably early 2000s. So.
Yeah, I guess.
Thurman Merman.
But going back to the bar scene, I believe that was the only time in the movie that it really kind of freaked me out because when they were sitting in the bar, and what was the guy's name? Cody,
Morty,
Cody and Morty. Well, Cody's the younger one. He comes in and he's like, "We gotta go," whatever. And Morty was like, "We can't." And he points over.
Oh yeah,
and the leprechaun's just sitting there staring at him. That was probably the only creepy vibe I got.
They could have made him creepier if they wanted to. Like if he was more stalkerish and quiet. Like, he does have, like, an unsettling face, but he's just goofing off too much.
As a kid, I remember running into one of these films, like, just randomly on TV.
The way he wobbles away.
I was terrified at night that night. So, like, for a kid, this must be terrifying.
Well, because you felt the same way about Chucky, right?
No, I did not.
I think you're scared of, like, the whole short...
I never
something that could just cut your ankles right away.
I never thought Chucky was scary at all. I mean, I kind of like Child's Play. We don't need to get into that, but this particular version of the Leprechaun, I don't know if it was the first or the second one. It was either this one or the sequel. I ran into it and I just remember being super creeped out by the way that Warwick Davis portrayed
Well, it's just like his little cobbler shoes and his little legs, like the way they move. It's just it's he's eerie.
He's
what do you
maniacal.
mean they move? What are you talking about?
What do you mean they?
Who? Leprechauns or
Warwick Davis' character in this movie?
Warwick Davis is a genius, by the way.
He is.
I think he's one of the best little people actors ever.
Actually, you read about him. He's like the highest grossing, I think, actor. Like or what's the word? Not starring, I guess.
Yeah, he's a big actor.
Yeah.
Took you guys a second.
Yeah.
What came first? And it's a little off topic, but was it Willow or the Leprechaun?
I remember him originally from
Totally
Willow.
Was he like a child in Willow?
I guess. He was only in his 20s, I think, when he was started as the Leprechaun.
So. Well, anyway, you kind of got us talking about this franchise, not just because it's March, but you studied a couple classes in college about like Leprechaun culture, right?
And the Shamrock history. I like Shamrocks. So, no, I used to not like St. Patrick's Day all that much. I don't know what, and I still don't really like love it. Like I'm not all about drinking the green beer, but to me, it's a personal like end of winter. It's almost like a chance to like.
Well, right now it's pretty nice out. Yeah,
it's almost like what Halloween is, in a way, where Halloween is like it's the end of summer, or into the fall, and the winter's coming. Now this is almost the end of winter, and spring's coming.
And this is the time of year when we watch Blown Away.
That's right, Blown Away. It's a great movie.
The Devil's Own, Road to Perdition. There are some good like Irish movies. But this one...
The Magical Legend of the Leprechaun, starring Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Talk about... What year did that movie come out?
I think it was 1999.
Yeah. Whoopi was doing the cultural appropriation well before it was controversial to do that. So
I could really go for a movie.
She played an Irish little person, midget, whatever. Now I have to watch this movie. I didn't even know that existed. It's like the movie Shazam. I thought it maybe was a fake thing. Or what was the movie that apparently didn't exist?
I think Shazam.
It is Shazam?
Yeah.
The one that's not Shaq.
Or Kazam.
Kazam, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget.
We were just talking about this before we started the podcast here, but do you believe that there was any connection to Leprechaun 2 having Sister Act 2 on the marquee in the background?
Well, the fact that Whoopi Goldberg's in the
Wait,
Magical
what?
Legend.
It wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the movie playing in the cinema behind him.
And that's also why they were originally going to call this Leprechaun 2 back in... Was it Sisterhood? Wait, no. That was called Back in Action, wasn't it?
No.
I don't think maybe I subconsciously...
Yeah, Sister Act 2 Back in Action.
Yeah, it is.
Stop
isn't it? No,
Stop it.
I think I subconsciously made that comment.
Yeah. No,
thinking about Whoopi Goldberg.
My dad was a big Sister Act fan growing up.
Of course he was.
We're actually... that was going to be our next movie we're going to do. We're going to get into Sister Acts.
Sister Act and then Beautician and the Beast.
I saw Sister Act in the theater with my nana.
We are so off topic. It's not... we're talking Whoopi and Sister Act now.
All right. Well, we're
losing the creeps and the creatures.
So we're gonna hone in on here. He was more violent. He had way more Irish proverbs. He had way more tricks up his sleeves. He did a lot more with illusions. I just think he upped his game this time, and it's probably because he needed desperately to get back to his bride to have sex with her. You remember he licked her face in his gross tongue,
and he wanted to make love to her.
You could tell he probably just smelled like shit.
He was gonna put a whole litter in her.
Yeah,
it's so off-putting.
He's so disgusted. Yeah.
And then he went on about how he was going to deform her because the little ones would suckle.
Yeah, and this is all inside of a trunk of a tree in Los Angeles.
Magical tree.
After 1,000 years. I love when he gets defeated and he says one last thing. He did it in the first one, but he's like proud about it. He goes, "I'll be back." He just patiently waits 1,000 years.
The was it Uncle? Is Uncle Morty? I guess is that his uncle?
They call him that, drunk Uncle Morty.
Drunk Morty.
Jack Klumpus.
Yeah, that part always kind of annoyed me too. Is that he himself it was always he's a scumbag. Always will be.
He's always taking the shortcut.
He wants to help out his I guess his nephew, but at the end of the day, it's all about him. He's got to get his fair share, and that's what gets him killed.
Because his dad's really into. I mean, he was really into all things mythical like that. So, because they were if you want to know the backstory of this, if you don't feel like watching this movie, they were running I guess it was like a tour of the dark side of Hollywood. It was just a bad premise all the way around. They couldn't think of anything better to really tie this together.
It was just a scam.
But the girl that he was trying to marry was like 1,000-year generation of that woman in Ireland from the beginning. So there was a bloodline there, and I think that's why.
And he knew he could make it out. I guess he could smell her blood. I guess
something like that. So
imagine a thing like that can smell you. It can smell your insides.
Wait, how did he get out of the tree again?
He just smelled bourbon, Canadian bourbon, or whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey.
And he was just waiting?
I get, but I think it was just happened to be 1,000 years, and that kind of woke him up. Oh, but it also, the way he killed Marty. What's his name? Morty?
Morty?
Yeah, like that gold was just growing in his stomach.
Yeah.
He played like... So he did respect the three-wish game. Like, they're very ethical at the same time.
Let's go back
Leprechauns are kind of ethical. Like, they play by the rules... If when they're going back and forth,
call them ethical.
They bend the rules.
But Morty was a real POS.
It's always a game, though.
They had him done. They had him dead to rights. And, of course, Morty being Morty, he had to go into scam mode, and he thought he could scam more money out of the leprechaun right then and there.
What makes you think you could out-trick leprechauns? Been doing it for thousands of years.
That's very true.
It's Morty.
He thought he could out-trick
the odds of them getting him into that safe, too, were... What, 1,000,000 to 1?
He had to go through the dog door.
Morty just fucks it up like immediately. He doesn't even think about it. He doesn't even tell Cody what the plan is. He just goes right in for it.
I do have an update though on Sister Act 2. It's back in the habit.
Oh, in the habit.
Yeah.
So you were close.
You were
close.
It's not like the titles get any better with this movie. The next one's In the Hood, right?
No, that doesn't come till like the fourth or the fifth one. No,
I thought the way I was watching this movie, I put the wrong one in because they went into like a ghetto part of like the city, and like that lady was yelling at him. I'm like, "Is this in the hood I'm watching?"
Shit, I gotta turn the other one on.
I did see that one when I was younger. I'm gonna have to revisit that, but I guess this was a decent follow up to the first one.
I mean,
they don't explain because he died in where he. Went in the. I don't know how he died in the first one, or he went back.
The 4-leaf clover gets shot.
Yeah, but they almost act like this.
Wait.
They pick up.
What was the last line in the first one? "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
Yeah, but they act like he just. Like the first one didn't even exist in this movie because they picked up over in Ireland and came over here.
Well, again, that goes back to the fact that this is the different Leprechaun.
They just all look
right, but I thought there was no continuity. It's kind of like.
No,
they never talked about him.
It's a different Leprechaun.
Okay.
So all the Leprechaun heads out there, all the fanatics will tell you this is not the same Leprechaun.
I understand, but it's the same actor. But it's
same actor, same mannerisms.
But they purposely decided just to keep it a whole different story, is what it was. There's usually the first and two movies of any.
I think with this type of movie, this type of genre, it goes off the rails really quickly.
Oh, leprechaun me, oh, leprechaun you. Have you ever seen two leprechauns screw?
Was that an original? Or?
No, I wrote that.
Well, Sean, you kind of have based on what you watched before, so.
That'll be another episode. But
that's a story for another day.
So, yeah, the first one had a 31% Rotten Tomatoes. This has a 6%. So, like I said, it's gone downhill in terms of ratings.
And you also have to think about that part of that 6% is just people just fucking with it. Like, they're like, this is great. That's probably like 3.
It's fan service.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not a good. It's terrible acting. Let's just call it is.
If you go into a Leprechaun movie expecting to be enthralled in a good story, you're wasting your time.
It's terrible acting. The story is not well thought out. The main attraction is Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun, right? And what he's going to do.
I feel like the target audience of this movie is the young kid that stumbles upon it on flipping through the channels. Like,
right.
What's this on?
Yeah.
And that's...
Can that happen these days, by the way?
Unfortunately, I don't think it can, But it's like, that's how we used to watch things back then, is you'd be flipping through the channel and...
That is exactly how I found it.
It would be on AMC Fear Fest sometimes. But also, if you want to put on cable television this month, it's probably on AMC or Sci-Fi at some point.
Probably a Sci-Fi movie.
There's probably some great Sci-Fi spin-offs of this that haven't even made it to, like, Plex or anything like that you could watch it.
Yeah. I mean...
Because they've remade this movie so
and I
many
think
times.
that's where it does a good job, where this movie isn't scary by any means to us. And we're grown-ups, obviously. And there's still movies that do that, but this movie is, for a young mind...
Right.
It's kind of creepy.
Well,
the character itself is
very
creepy.
It turns the idea on its head, where most schools, they celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Oh, we're going to catch a leprechaun. Oh, there's the green. He peed green in the toilet, or he's got little green feet. Like, oh, the leprechauns are nice. They're going to give me... Nobody wants to catch a leprechaun after watching this.
The leprechaun is alive and well in my household. In fact, I have to make a trap this weekend. Like, I make a little cardboard box, and then you put the little shoe prints. My kids... They're going to be turning...
I remember that.
He turned 5, and my daughter's going to turn 7. And she asked me if fairies were real the other day. She was talking about, like, the tooth fairy.
And
I was doing work.
Right?
And I was like, no, they're not real. She goes, what about the tooth fairy? I was like, oh, yeah, it's real. And then she asked me a question. I'm like, I guess now I have to lie about the leprechauns and everything else because, I mean, Santa's little helpers are basically the same creatures.
See, I like to tell my kids, leprechauns are real, and then like they say, like, are leprechauns bad? I'm like, I guess you haven't seen Warwick Tales.
I guess it depends on the leprechaun.
Could you imagine waking up thinking that a leprechaun actually ran through your house and played all these pranks on you?
It's kind of
pretty creepy.
It's a little
pretty violating.
They open your doors. They go through your stuff.
They rummage.
What is the purpose of their presence?
They care about 2 things in this world. It's gold. And getting laid once to their bride every 1,000 years.
That's true.
That's it.
But before that happens, they like to deform their bride.
No, well, that and like they get off on the game. They're always playing tricks and playing by the rules. I mentioned I'd gone over there, and I told you my brother. The first thing he says is, he goes, "Is it true? Do you see like a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow?" And like he was a younger bartender, and of course he just shook his head. He says, "No." He says that. I'm pretty sure it's definitely in their folklore, but it's definitely like that's something Americans just like we think about more than anything. Like I don't even know if they have Lucky Charms over there. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's even part.
What is our obsession with just that celebration of that?
I don't know. Well, actually, we never get Lucky Charms, but we always get it in March because like as we get closer to St. Patrick's Day, that's like the stuff that's going to catch the leprechaun.
It's just
we put out.
It's just a reason to sell more candy.
I don't know. It's just the same. It's funny to make fun of. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a culture you could actually make fun of on that level because it's funny and stupid.
I do like shepherd's pie though. That's a good Irish, I guess.
I love shepherd's pie.
Now, do you think leprechauns even eat? I don't think they do. You never stop to eat.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
No,
it's not really a good question.
I'm racking my brain.
It's a question that I was never.
Did he eat at all in this movie?
But we're gonna, once you post this, when we put it out there, we need to hear because we're not big fanatics on this franchise at all. But there has to be some serious Leprechaun fans out there that must know a lot about the folklore of leprechauns.
It's just like any other, movie around a certain time frame of the year. It's
like Hobbits.
I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's like I can show my kids this at some point when they're older. Like, yeah, there's a scary leprechaun movie. But besides that, it's just.
I think that the series as a whole is interesting, right? Like, I mean, the first one is decent. At least I thought it was decent.
Especially when it came out, they had some moments where it could be creepy. Like it came out of nowhere.
I mean, it is pretty creepy. Like if you got to put yourself back into that time frame where none of the other ones existed. This was the first of its kind.
And you hear like, his voice like over here.
You're like, wow, this is sadistic. This little leprechaun.
Or when you hear like. When he's off in the distance, like you just hear him.
Yeah, just quick.
And he's so small. I remember when I was a kid, my bed was kind of like up high. It was on like almost like stilts or something. And I was trying to go to bed. And like you couldn't really see the floor.
His nice little bucket.
And I just kept thinking he was down. I kept like looking down on both sides of the bed.
All right, his face. If you looked under there and you saw his mug, that would be scary. He's got an ugly face. Ugly face.
Well, when he shows up in the house, like that's like to get the girl. That's scary. Like, it's kind of scary. Can you imagine just like talking with someone and like, just a little thing just runs out of nowhere? What?
They were like, "Holy shit!" And then they just started beating him. Like
that's when you find out he was allergic or what? Wrought iron.
Iron. Yeah, I guess iron was the key.
All right. Well, do we want to get into the rating? I must forget that. I mean, we have to rate it, man. We can't not rate it.
We could do it.
The podcast is called Way Too Spooky. And for our P1 listeners, that's people who've been around since episode 1. You get it by this point.
That's right.
But no, we have a rating scale here. Way Too Spooky means this scares the crap out of you. Scariest movie you've ever seen. I'm going to work backwards here, Chris.
You can do whatever you want. You're never going to get this right.
There's Spookless, which is a dud spooky.
Okay.
No, you already are off the rails.
Jeez,
it's not too spooky.
See, I'm just making sure you're.
Sean, you're the new co-host. Connor,
oh my God,
get bent, bro. Now it's spookless, not too spooky, spooky and way too spooky.
Has he ever gotten that correct?
Never.
And I'm pretty sure I'm the one who created it.
It's not that difficult.
It's not.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna flat out say this one was just spookless.
It's spookless. It is, but it's spookless.
But it's March, and we kind of have to do one of these movies.
Yeah. I'll put it. Now I don't watch much cable anymore because the way we're into the streaming, with the way streaming is anymore. But if I'm flipping through the channels, like the old school way, and that's on TV, I'm watching it.
I think somebody could really redo this movie and do it well.
No, they can't because you didn't see Leprechaun Origins or. What the newest one? The beginning. Yeah. There's some of the worst movies ever. I don't think this source material is going much further at this point.
The follow up to this one though, it was my favorite. Have you seen the third one?
With the casinos?
When he's in Vegas.
Yeah.
You could have said, "Let's watch that one." I would have cared.
We gotta go in sequential order.
He's in Vegas.
He's in Vegas. It's actually we should do that one because that one is way more watchable.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch that.
This one.
My window's this week. I don't
spookless.
watch it outside this week.
No, you got 3 more days.
Yeah, I got 3 more days to maybe watch this.
But it was still fun, right? It was a fun movie. It was a fun thing if you got to kill an hour.
We should watch it, and every time he saes a rhyme or a riddle, we do an Irish car bomb.
We would be smashed.
In the third one, he's a lot more rhymey and riddly.
Oh, well, now I have to watch it.
And that's where that's the best part of the movie. All of his little rhymes.
All right. Well, I give it a half a Guinness. What about you, Sean?
Oh, is this a different rating?
Yes.
Connor forgot the rating already.
So we're using the Guinness scale now, not the not too.
Or we can use a 1-leaf clover, a 2-leaf clover, a 3-leaf clover, or a 4-leaf clover.
That. Yeah, I like that. I would give this one.
Don't press your luck, Chris.
Probably no leaf clovers.
Okay.
So it's a stem.
It's just a stem.
Yeah.
It's just it's the wrong kind of plant.
It's a stem that you keep around if you need to kill some time.
Yeah. Well, I would do something similar to that. It's again, I watch it. It's better than nothing.
Yeah. You know what? And our chat is probably blowing up right now about our fans talking about what we're saying about it on the live feed, of course, because we're live right now. Now we have to watch number 3. If anybody's any of our loyal followers, you have to I need to learn from you guys about this because I'm just not going to take any more time for this franchise.
It really is good though that they almost take every single scenario in common films and plot lines, and they send a Leprechaun there. Let's send him to Vegas. Let's send him to California.
It's like Jason goes to space. Let's send him to space. Is there a space one?
Yeah, he goes to space in the 4th one.
Oh my God! Is there really?
Yeah, Leprechaun
I think I stopped at 3, and then I picked back up in.
Yeah, it becomes giant in that one, and it's got who's the lady from Home Improvement? Their assistant on Tool Time. Heidi.
My question is, when St. Patrick chased all those snakes out of Ireland, why didn't he just chase all the leprechauns out too? Right? That actually happened. That's what St. Patrick. That's why we celebrate St. Patrick's. So,
but who was there first? Were the leprechauns there first?
I don't know. I went there. I'll tell you what. I didn't see any snakes. So there is some truth to that. And I think maybe we'll just end it with that, right?
That's the perfect.
I mean, what more can you say? We're going on for 30 minutes. That's what? More than half the length of this movie. So just watch the movie.
We're a little rusty. I mean, this time
and if you have time, throw in Sister Act 2 after that.
Yeah, you know what? Just do like a back-to-back feature. Watch Leprechaun 2, and then put on a Sister Act movie, and then you know
they go hand in hand.
And then keep the Whoopi thing going, and just watch the VO. Right? Isn't that what she does?
And that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you, everyone. We are way too spooky. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day 2024.
And we're going to get back. This time of year, of course, we delve back into this and we do a couple Leprechaun movies. But we'll be back a little more full steam come springtime, especially into the summer. So stick around.
We got to find a horror Easter movie.
I guarantee you there's one.
All right, we'll
with an Easter bunny or something like that.
Yeah, we'll find that.
Be one.
Yeah. All right.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Later, friends.